Hey, good morning, good morning. It is Friday morning. That's right. It is TGIF here on Motivated Strength. I'm your host, Shane Schulz. We do this show so that you can start your day in a motivated, positive way. That way you can take on life's challenges as they are, but more importantly, as you are right now. Now, if you happen to be new to the show, I want to welcome you to taking the time to see what it is that we're doing here, and I certainly value your opinion. For those of you who stay around and subscribe to the show, man, I appreciate you more than you know. I got to tell you, together we are going to make a difference. Now, how we do that, folks, is that we do that with the optimal frame of mind. The optimal frame of mind is a higher way of thinking. That higher way of thinking will lead us to a higher level of living. Let me say that again. The higher way of thinking will lead us to a higher level of living. Isn't that what we all are looking for in the first place? Now, motivated strength comes from a number of different challenges in life, mainly mine. I've dealt with clinical depression, borderline personality disorder, PTSD, as well as I've dealt with chronic nerve pain, addiction, codependency. The list goes on and on and on. Now, I'm not saying these things that I go through just to get your attention for pity or for, get my back kind of slapped to say, hey, I'm sorry that you're going through that. No, that's not the case. What I say those lists is so that you can be identifying with me and I can identify with you. In other words, we're helping each other. See, it's not just about me, myself, and I. We're a community together that are helping each other be empowered to be more than the challenges that we face. That's what we do here on Motivated Strength. Now, this week, we have talked about motivation. Now, I know that it's a real shock to you that we're talking about motivation on Motivated Strength. Well, the thing is I've mentioned this in most of the shows this week, is that motivation sometimes when people are dealing with their challenges and struggles can be intimidating. It also can be annoying. It can be awkward. It can be a lot of different things than what it's really meant to be. But the thing is that I know that motivation is not the enemy of those who are dealing with those challenges and struggles. I've been through the things that I've been through. I gave you the list that I've been through. And I can tell you this, that I wanted to be a motivational speaker since I was really young. I mean, I really enjoyed listening to Tony Robbins. I mean, I listened to all of his tapes at the time. And yes, I just said cassette tapes. I know I just dated myself. But, the idea here is to let you know that motivation is not your enemy. Motivation can be helpful. It can be inspirational. So what we decided to do is that we took motivational quotes from Eric Thomas. Eric Thomas is a very well-known motivational speaker. He's also a pastor, and he goes around the world speaking at different events and helping millions and millions of people. Now, his inspiration probably is meant for a number of different ways, right? It's probably meant for the average person, but it's also meant for athletes. He's really, that type of style as to where he's looking to get athletes to another level, to bring them to where they want to go, whether it be basketball players, football players, whatever the case may be, to get up to another level. Here, what we're doing here with Motivated Strength, we're doing the same thing. We're trying to get you to another level. Now, one of his most famous quotes is that you got to want it more than you breathe. You got to want it more than you breathe. You got to want to succeed more than you breathe. That is his most famous quote that's going. He talks about the guru. The guru talks to a younger gentleman who wants to succeed in life like no other person that he thinks would ever want to. And so the guru says, I'll go ahead and I'll help you. He goes, okay, great. He says, meet me first thing in the morning at the ocean. Well, the kid wasn't really expecting that to be where they would meet, and that was the ocean. So he comes over to the ocean, and he's in a suit. Well, the guru said, listen, I told you to meet me at the ocean. You're the one that wore the suit. He actually brought the gentleman into the water. And as he brings him into the water, the guy's suit is obviously not being used for the way that it used to. I mean, it wasn't a scuba suit. It was this suit that he had a tie on and everything. Well, he brought him a little bit further out into the ocean. And the kid was saying, what are we doing here? What's going on? I don't understand what you're doing. He goes, come on out a little bit further. And the kid would go out a little bit further. Now, to the kid's credit, he kept on doing what it is that the guru said, but he didn't realize what was happening because the water was starting to get a little bit high. It was starting to get a little bit over his chin. And he realized that this water is going to be, consuming him in a quick second, in a minute. So now the guru goes ahead and he takes his head and he puts his head down into the water. Now, the kid reacts and he says, all right, listen, what the heck? He says, you're crazy. I don't understand what's going on. And the guru said, listen, if you want to succeed, if you really want to succeed, then you have to want to succeed more than the air that you breathe. Same thing here when we're dealing with our pain. Same thing here when we're dealing with our struggles, our challenges. When we're dealing with chronic pain, chronic illness, mental illness, maybe life experiences that you can't let go, it's real easy to kind of adapt to what it is that the symptoms are of what it is that we're challenged by. It's real easy to kind of adapt to that mindset, that cycle, that pattern. I talk about cycles and patterns all the time. And what the idea here that I'm trying to get across to you is that we got to want it more than the air that we breathe. If you want to be better, if you want to feel better, if you want to be stronger, if you want to be more knowledgeable, if you want to be something other than what you are, you have to really want it. And you and I, who go through some challenges and struggles, well, we have to want it even more than maybe the average person, because we have to make ourselves get out of what it is that we're ailed by first. That's the thing, is that we're trying to get ourselves outside of that drowning point. We're trying to get ourselves outside of that consumption point. Remember, I said that our challenges and our struggles, they need to be a percentage of our life, not a consumption of our life. So when we're sitting there and we are fighting to be able to be more than just what we're ailed by, well, that's like fighting to breathe underneath the water. So you're trying to fight your way out of what it is that's keeping you stuck. You're trying to fight your way out of what it is that's keeping you from being able to make goals and to be able to accomplish things that you otherwise wouldn't be able to do. This is what it is that I want to tell you. You are capable. You have the capability of being able to do that. You have been listening to Motivated Strength now for a while. You know that I'm going to sit there and I'm going to tell you that you have the ability. You can do more than what you can't do. You just need to be able to see it that way. Same thing here. I'm not going to pull any punches with you. I know there's pain. I know there's illness. I know there's struggle. There's challenges. I get that. I know it personally. That's why I'm telling you, you have to fight in order to be able to give that best effort that you can to be able to be more than the challenges that you face. You have to fight more than what the average person would. So when that statement is that you got to want it more than the air that you breathe, it is even more related to you than the average person. Because you have to want it in order to be able to be more than the challenges that you face. Listen, I get the weight of what it is that you're talking about when it comes to like multiple sclerosis, when it comes to be, fibromyalgia, Lyme disease, clinical depression, schizophrenia. These are heavyweights. I told you this. These are heavyweights. And so when we're sitting there and we're going against challengers that are heavyweights, we need to want it more than anything else. We need to want it more. And so when we're sitting there and we're making our goals and we just want to do that one thing, we have to give it everything that we've got. And that means that we have to work harder. That means that we have to strategize even more so. That means that we have to believe more. That means that we have to have the emphasis of being able to do what it is that we can do versus what it is that we can't. That means that we have to reach outside of ourselves even more so to be able to become what it is that we are meant to be, as opposed to what we may merely exist to be. See, when we're talking about motivation, it's something that is not altogether the easiest thing to take when we're dealing with the challenges and struggles that we have. But it is capable of being able to help you. You just need to be able to see it that way. And that's what we talked about all week long here. See, instead of just kind of like reverting back and saying, oh, I can't do motivation because I'm sick. Oh, I can't do motivation because I deal with pain. You don't understand what it is that I'm going through. You don't walk into the shoes that I walk into. Well, guess what? I do. I deal with clinical depression. I deal with borderline personality disorder. I deal with PTSD. I deal with chronic nerve pain. So I have a pretty good idea of what it is that you're going through. I may not have exactly what you have, and I may not have the exact same symptoms, but I have a good idea and you know it. So with that being the case, we got to stop making excuses. We got to stop making excuses for why it is that we can be more than the challenges that we face. We got to stop making excuses that is keeping us from being that. We got to stop making the excuses that's keeping us from crashing through the ceilings and making goals and accomplishing things that we otherwise would. And here's the thing. It's a small thing that makes a difference. So if you are able to say, I don't know, clean your room, or if you're able to do the dishes or whatever the case may be, that's a big thing. You got to do everything that you can in order to be able to make that happen. See, I'm not pulling any punches with you. I know exactly what we're talking about. All right, listen, we do this show Monday through Friday. We do this show because we want you to be able to take on life's challenges as they are, but more importantly, as you are right now. In other words, those doctor appointments, those therapy sessions, those group sessions, those physical therapy, or even I had a number of different things, I got to tell you. So what I want you to do is I want you to understand that we're a community together. It's not just about me, myself, and I talking about things in this camera. It's about reaching outside of who it is that we are to be more than the challenges that we face and to empower you to be even more so for yourself, and not only for yourself, but also for others. Listen, I hope you have an extraordinary weekend. For this weekend, I want you to think about how it is that you can want something more than the air that you breathe, and see how it is that you act a little bit differently. See how it is that you change things a little bit differently. See how it is that you strategize a little bit differently. I bet you it's going to make a difference. I hope you have an extraordinary weekend. We'll talk to you Monday.